Thanks for making the time for me, Miss Olympia, Miss Women's Physique Olympia, if I get in trouble by other people. But you have been very busy. So what has Miss Olympia been up to? Miss Physique Olympia been up to since you became the champ?
Oh my gosh. I get goosebumps every time that I hear this. But first of all, thank you for having me here. You know, it's always a pleasure. But honestly, since the show, I've been doing a lot of workshops, seminars, all the posing clinics. I've been traveling a lot, going to all the shows, trying to be as present as I can to give back to the sport. But it's been an honor. You know, I've been loving all the traveling, all the appearances. It's been very fun.
Where have you gone?
Oh boy. So, as a lot of you know, I went to the New York, the Pittsburgh Pro for sure. And then I went to Tampa. I went to Brazil. I did a tour in Brazil. I went to 6 gyms there. So I met a lot of people, a lot of fans. And then I took some time to visit my family. And then I came back. I did the NPC tour with Tim Gardner.
Oh, wow.
So I went to the South Florida. We did Powerhouse Gym in Brandon. And then what else did I do? All the local shows I was here. We had a few shows in the Hyatt. And then I also had a Biohacking Conference, which was so fun about the gut health and all this stuff. So it's been a lot of traveling, but honestly,
let's go back to Brazil. What was that like for you to be back in your homeland and seeing all the fans?
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun because I met a lot of young people there and I was surprised because I knew I had some fans like about my age or a little older because they're, they know about bodybuilding. But a lot of teenagers, a lot of people like young kids, that are starting to train or starting to follow the sport. So I was happy, to be able to talk to them and take pictures and just educate them about the sport. So I think the most exciting thing was to see like these little girls, they're like 8 years old, 9 years old, doing cardio and doing like these push-ups. Wow. And I'm like, wow, that is super fun to see, good, because I know in the future, they're going to be the next generation. So if they start following the sport now, by the time they're like 20, they know everything about the sport and they can continue to grow the sport.
How big is the sport over there for women's physique in Brazil?
Like I would say like 10 years ago, nobody would know about it. Now, it's been crazy. I think because of Tamer and Tarek, the muscle contest shows there, everybody's talking about bodybuilding. Everywhere you go, like I would go to anywhere, even when I went to the church. Oh my gosh, I gotta tell you that. So I went to church and I met at least like 5 or 6 people who knew about the sport. They're like, well, we pray a lot and we go to the gym and we do this and we do that. We start following you. I'm like, wow, that is amazing. Like the church, I wouldn't think like a lot of people would know. So it's just exciting to see how much the sport's growing there. And I think Brazil is going to be like I think right now it is already the second biggest, country.
Oh, wow.
With the sport growing. So I know they have shows every weekend, everywhere, all the states. So it's getting there.
So you are really getting your face around everybody and then promoting obviously women's physique, and we need that, and thank you for doing that. So you competed a few times already this year, and what was that rush for you? Obviously that's a big rush. I mean, what made you decide to do the Pittsburgh Pro and the New York Pro? I mean, you're already the Miss Olympia physique champ. You don't really have to do these shows. So what was the whole point of that? Because a lot of people were like, when they saw your name on the list, Pittsburgh is a great example. Oh, Natalia's competing, great. And then New York, the same thing.
Yes. So here's the thing. Back in the days, if you look at the old school bodybuilders, do you really think they would do just the Olympia? They did like tours around the world. They would compete as much as possible. And that's what made the sport grow. You know, so as an ambassador and as somebody who loves competing and who is an athlete, what do athletes do? They compete. So I feel like I'm responsible for my category, of course, along with the other girls. But with this title, I want to take advantage and do whatever I can to grow the sports and to do what I love. And I love being on stage. So we didn't have the Arnold, I mean, our category in the Arnold.
Sure.
And I'm like, you know what? Last year we had for the very first time women's physique at the Pittsburgh Pro. I mean, women's physique pro. They have the amateurs. And I did the show last year, and I told JM, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be back next year to defend my title. And he's like, what if you win the Olympia? I'm like, it doesn't matter, you know. I still want to have the title, the honor of being here. And I was already planning to be there because it's one of the biggest shows in the world. So to show my love and support to Jim Mannion. And I'm like, let's go, let's do it. Let's promote the sport, let's compete, let's have fun. And this year, the New York Pro was only 1 week later. And I'm like, I'm in prep, I'm ready, I'm here. Why not to do another show? And that's what I did. I was representing, showing love. And a lot of the fans, you know, they appreciate it. They like to come to the show to see the support and to see like a Miss Olympia there. I think it's even more exciting.
Well, of course, yeah, you get to see the champ right there. But what do you say to the competitors who disagree with that? They think that you shouldn't be competing. There are people who think that if you're already Olympia qualified, you should not be competing in another show. You should just wait to the Olympia. Just be done. What do you think of that?
Why? I would just ask them why. Like, it doesn't make sense. I'm an athlete. That's what I do for life. That's what I love doing. You know, I'm not going to just sit back and wait until the Olympia. If I can still progress, and that's what I did last year, still progress, and if I'm healthy, and, you know, I don't see a point to just not do it. And I know a lot of people prefer to do that. I respect everybody's, you know, decision. But to me, you have no idea. Like, the moments that I step on stage, I have a fire inside me. It, like, keeps me going. And I'm like, I cannot fit into the Olympia, you know. I need to be doing what I love. It's just like, it's in me. I want to do it. And every time I watch a show, I have this fire, you know. I can be watching, like, amateur shows or whatever it is. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I want to go on stage. I want to go on stage. So I'm young, I'm healthy, I'm doing what I love, and I don't see why to just waste time not doing what I love.
What was it like having Sarah up there next to you in Pittsburgh, along with Emily Schubert? I think I see her last name. She came in second to you. What do you think of her?
She has a very, very nice physique. She got second in both shows.
Yes.
So it was right there. I do think she has a lot of potential to go to bodybuilding. I see a lot. I even talked to her backstage. I congratulate her because I know she's been like
So you're
so
pushing
hard.
her to bodybuilding.
Well, I'm not pushing her, but I do see a lot of
You
potential.
think that she should go to bodybuilding?
Well, I think if she wants to, she's going to do very
She could
well.
do very well in bodybuilding. Absolutely.
Because, I mean, her size, her structure, everything's like... I think she would have to hold back to stay in women's physique. And for what I know about her, I don't think she wants to hold back. I mean, she likes to train. She likes to, you know, compete.
Yeah.
So I would be very interested to see her on stage as a bodybuilder.
Could you imagine that if she came, like, say, Chicago Pro or, you know, one of these other shows later this year, Tampa, and stepped into women's bodybuilding? Everybody, that would be a sight. Well, what was it like being next to Sarah again on stage?
It was good. It was fun. I mean, Bob always does his thing, you know, like calling me and her. But it's nice that she's showing up at the shows as well.
Do you think that she's going to, think it's going to be a big battle between you and her for the title?
I hope so. I'm looking forward to that. You know, it's always fun to battle on stage. And, you know, off stage, we are like all sisters. Everybody's like training and doing their own thing. But when we get to the stage, it's like, battle, let's go.
Have you already started you're always in shape year round, but I mean, have you started like an Olympia prep yet or no?
I might be starting about like 15, 16 weeks out. So another 2 or 3 weeks. Because as you know, I just did a show in May. So we are in July now almost. So 8 weeks off, 12 weeks off. It's, you know, I don't really need to rush into prep, especially because, to be honest, my foods and my routine is exactly the same. I just eat a little bit more, but it's the same food sources. The discipline is the same. My scheduling, everything, it doesn't change.
Tell me about this expo you went to. What was this conference that you went to?
Oh, the Biohacking Conference.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, that was so fun. So it's pretty much about, like, as the name says, biohacking. You're hacking your biology, the biology of the human body.
Hmm.
So it was focused on gut health, on mental health, microbiome, all that stuff. So a lot of new technologies, a lot of genius people there. I made a lot of connections. And one of my mentors, when I was going to school, and I got my gut health diploma, I had a professor that was super, super smart. And I became friends with him. He used to compete. He's a
Oh,
former
wow.
bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was at the conference, was the one who told me about it. And I was with him there. So he introduced me to a lot of people and he was explaining everything. I watched a lot of like interviews. It was really, really interesting. I learned a lot.
So, what is your background? I know you have a few degrees, don't you?
Yes, my first degree was in nutrition, and then I got another degree in kinesiology, of
Hmm.
course, in exercise science,
Hmm.
and then I got my gut health
How important
diploma.
is now in this day and age? Gut health is. I see lots of things for gut health. Why
Yes,
is that? That's very important for especially our sport and wellness in general, right?
absolutely.
So,
Because if you stop to think about it, everything starts in your gut.
hmm.
And you can eat as much as you want, you can do everything that you're doing, training and all this stuff, but if you're not actually assimilating the nutrients and absorbing the nutrients, you're just causing inflammation and the toxins are not going out. You need to make sure that your gut is working optimally in order to have progress. And even if you're not an athlete, you still have to take care of your gut, to be healthy. And
Hmm.
there are so many things that we can do to improve our gut health and our
Hmm.
overall health.
Hmm.
Sometimes I see people like with skin problems or migraines or depression, hormones imbalance, and everything goes down to your gut. 80% of your immune system is in your gut.
Can you
So,
take too many probiotics?
well,
Because
I
that's
don't,
complicated. I don't understand. Like, there's different, like 500. There's eight. There's different many. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
where do you go? How do you, how does one who
depends.
doesn't know about gut health start to go on that journey with having a better gut? Because we all do have gack and stuff in there that needs to come out. Detox.
Yes. So there are like billions of millions and different species of bacteria. And we have more bacteria in the human body than cells.
Well,
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, you know I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on trifecta.
So the bacteria pretty much controls our whole system. And I would say, like, if for you to have an idea, the probiotics, they are the live bacteria. And then we have the prebiotics, which is the food that keeps the live
mhm,
bacteria alive.
mhm,
So the good bacteria, they die very quickly. If you are not feeding them with prebiotics, it's pointless to take a lot of probiotics. So
mhm,
you need to make sure that you're taking both.
mhm,
You don't need to actually take like pills or whatever. There are so many food sources and so many things that you can do to have the bacteria that you need and to keep them alive. Kombucha, kefir, there yogurt. There's so many things. Asparagus is a very good prebiotic source. So for anybody like trying to get into that, I would say you have to first clean out everything in your system.
mhm.
Make sure your gut, you have a barrier around your intestines, and you need to make sure that this mucosa is clean enough so you can restart to, like pretty much repopulate the bacteria there,
Mhm.
and you're gonna feel so good. It's just like mind blowing when you see like people transforming their lives just by changing the way they're eating, their habits. It's simple, you don't have to overcomplicate anything.
Hmm. Now, I mean, I know you're a big fan of gut health, and I thank you for sharing that because I don't think, when I'm at a show and I look at a lot of these athletes, a lot of them have the distended guts. I know some of it may be carb loading, but there's also maybe a sensitivity, I would think, too, right, with certain foods and things. But I just don't think athletes take the time to really invest in gut health. So I'm all about that. And that's why I wanted to ask you because I know you're an expert. You're all about health. You actually, it's funny because you eat so clean. You make, like, you don't go to if you go to a restaurant, which you don't really do that though, right? You make all your food your own. You bring your meal. I remember we went out to eat. You brought your own water. You didn't drink their water. You're so strict. And that makes all the difference in the world with the muscles, doesn't it?
It makes, and here's the thing, when you get to a certain level, every single thing that you do can either help you or keep you where you are or make you worse. So I try to do everything that is in my control. I take advantage of it. So the water thing is because, a lot of places, they only have tap water or purified water, and I don't drink this water. So I always make sure that I bring my own water. That's like something that I always do, no matter where I go, my water. But it is, it's just a lifestyle, and I understand a lot about the gut health, and I just don't trust anybody to touch my food, not even my mom or anybody.
I know. I remember her saying that. Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny. Let me ask you something. They recently had a men's physique weight cap and height cap. That's going into effect next year. The topic have been brought up about doing that to women's physique. Now, what are your thoughts on that? Because some of the women's physique are a little bit too big.
They are. Yeah.
I mean, they do look like bodybuilders. But
here's the thing.
Go ahead.
I'm going to use an example of myself.
Sure.
My whole prep last year for the Olympia, I started my prep at the same weight that I finished my prep. It didn't change, not even a pound, not even a few, not even anything at all.
Wow.
So my body composition changed completely. So putting a weight in women's physique, I don't think that's going to be the thing, because I can look exactly the same. I can weight exactly the same and look completely different. So I kind of agree with Bob. I watched his interview, his channel, and he was talking about it. And I think we could have maybe another criteria in terms of how they're judging. And I don't know, the weights, I don't think it's really going to make a difference in our category. But whatever they decide to do, I will support and I will do it, But I just don't really think that's going to solve the problem. What I think is going to solve the problem is exactly what they're doing. They have to pretty much give the first place to the people that they want to represent the category. And everybody else is going to follow. So they set these standards, And even last year, they said, well, we don't want you to come very hard. I came a little less harder, and I got the title. So they're trying to give us the message. We just have to listen to it.
I agree with you. But some of these qualifiers, though, some of the girls that may win are a little bit too big. So is that just based off of the competitors competing that day, and how they look? You know what I mean? Like maybe there's one really sharp conditioning, the rest are soft. I mean, which way do you go, I guess? But like you said, they are setting the standard. Obviously you are the ideal and the perfect women's physique. Now, I have to bring this up. So, Shanique Grant is supposed to be coming back, not into physique, but wellness. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I talked to her a few months ago, I think. And I kind of knew she was going to come back. I was looking forward to her, coming back to women's physique so we can battle again. That would be fun. But I understand, she's in another phase of her life and she doesn't want to do some things. She wants to try something different. And she's looking great, I always tell she has a freak genetic, the very tiny waist. She has good quads, good legs. And she's been working for the wellness category for a while. So that's going to be fun to see how she's going to stand next to the Brazilian girls and everybody else who's in the top right now.
If she was to come back into women's physique at her very best and at your very best, do you think you can beat her?
Yes.
Of course.
I mean, I have to think so, if you don't believe you can win something, you're never going to win. It always starts in your mind. So since day one that we started competing together and we are battling first and second all the time, I believe it, That's why I came back every single year, still excited, still with the passion and the fire, because I knew inside me that my time would come. I just had to continue doing what I was doing. So if she came back to women's physique, I would be super happy to be on stage with her again.
Oh, yeah.
Better that again, because
I will never forget when Bob called your name, and I've said this to you before, but I just bring it up because I get goosebumps talking about it. When Tim Wilkins, he's doing the pay-per-view, And as soon as he calls your name, he screams and he starts crying. He gets up and he just starts crying. I think a lot of people are crying because you work so hard. You know, how many times were you runner up in the women's physique?
I think four
4
times,
times.
three, 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
I placed second to Shanique twice, and then I placed third, and then third and second, and second to Sarah. Oh, 4 times, 4 or 5. Yeah, probably. But I don't know. It was the best feeling in the
Do
world,
you
you
still
know.
live that when you wake up every morning? Do you still feel that feeling when you got called the Miss Physique Olympia?
I do. I truly do. And it's funny because every single morning, there was not even one day that I woke up and I didn't think about this title. Every single morning I wake up. I even made a tattoo,
Oh
Miss
yeah,
Olympia.
and your mom got one too, right?
Yes, she did Mummies of
Yeah.
Miss Olympia. Because this means a lot to us, both of us. We fought a lot. We went through a lot together, and we were waiting for this day for such a long time. So when it happened, oh my gosh, I never saw my mom so happy in my entire life. And just by seeing her happy because of my accomplishments, it meant the world, you know. So that's why like this title to me means so much more than anybody can imagine. And that's why I honor this title every single day, every single event, because it's something very deep in my heart. It's something that I cannot explain. I'm like, this might be something from God. I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy, you know. Just by talking about it and thinking about the moments. And even like before the show, I remember I came to your show. We were in the studio. You called
Oh
Bob,
yeah, yeah,
and Bob was like, and Neil, I started crying
yeah.
because that's what I had, you know, visualized for
Sure.
such a long time. So going back to being on stage and looking at Bob, I could just like be praying. I'm like, God, please say Neil, say Neil. When he said Neil, my role, oh my gosh.
So are you
I
happy? Do you think that, well, you know, I'm sure Bob talked you into getting into women's physique. But had he not done that or whoever, do you think that you still would have been doing figure or would you have gone on to something else?
I would probably still be in figure, you know, because they really opened my eyes. I was just like trying and trying. They're like, you know, Natalia, it's not there's nothing wrong with you. You know, you have the physique, you have the passion, you have the heart, you have everything that you need, but you're in the wrong category. Give it a try. And I'm like, you know what? It's time to go. It's time to try. And I'm so blessed and so happy that they actually told me that. And that's what I love so much about the NPC and the FBB judges and the promoters and everybody else. They give you critiques. They talk to you and they tell you what you have to do. I see a lot of other federations that they just, you know, you place good, you place bad or whatever. That's it. No, they actually take the time to talk to us. Even you, I've seen you talking to other girls. I've seen
Sure.
Landa talking to other girls. Alina, they go backstage, they talk to the girls, you know, they actually care about us, the athletes. And that's just like amazing to see how like it's a community thing, you know. We all come together trying to improve the sports in a whole.
And Miss Olympia, Miss, I keep on saying Miss Olympia, Miss Physique Olympia is inspiring others and very nice and talks to everybody. You know, whenever I see your post on social media, I always get chills and it's so positive. You know, you're talking about your dream, living your dream. You know, how do you manage the social media? Because that's a lot. You're multitask so much. When does your day normally start? Are you a 5 a.m. person or earlier?
Well, it honestly depends, especially now traveling so much. Like the time zones has been crazy, you know. Like in Brazil was one time zone, and then I came back here, and then I went to New York, and then I went to. It's just like all over. But it doesn't matter what time I wake up. It's always the same mindset, the same like goals. If I'm training earlier, later, whatever it is, I just try to adapt, and sometimes it's necessary. You know, I like to be very strict with my schedule to do everything at the same time every single day, especially in prep. But being in the position that I am and having to travel and do all this stuff, it's necessary to adjust and it's worth it, you know. So people always tell me like, well, you can just sit back, you're Miss Olympia and whatever. I'm like, no, that's exactly why I have to be going out there. That's exactly why I have to attend as many events because I want to represent this title. I want to do what other people haven't done. and it's on my hands. It only depends on me to go out there and do everything as I can, because the title is with me right now. We never know tomorrow's day, but while I have this title, you can be sure that everything that is in my power to do for the sport, for the category, I will be doing.
What is one of the things like in your? I know you get a lot of messages from emails from fans. What is one message that you received that really touched your heart?
I like when they tell me about the struggles that they're going through. I had this girl, she messaged me and she was going through a very hard time. She had a lot of like eating disorders, and she was diagnosed with cancer. And
Oh,
she was like, I just want to end my life. I don't
wow.
see a reason to continue doing what I'm doing. And I'm sending you this email to tell you that. And that was very touching, when she said that, because I felt like she was about to end her life.
Sure.
So what I did was I asked for her number and I video called her.
Oh,
So
wow.
we talked, and I'm like, just tell me everything that you have inside your heart, just as a friend. Just tell me what you're feeling, why you're feeling that. And she started crying, telling me all the struggles she went through, the obstacles that she's been facing. And I was just listening to her. And at the end, she's like, well, nobody has ever done that to me, especially being, somebody that you don't even know. You didn't even need to return my mail, reply my mail. Not even you reply, but you got my number, but you call me, but you took the time to talk to me. And I'm like, of course, we are all humans. I'm all about being kind and trying to help somebody. If I can help, why not? Why not make somebody's life better? So that was a very, very touching message. And today we are friends. Like we literally talk. I saw her at one of the shows. We watched the shows together. So I think that's what it's all about. When you can help someone, do it.
Giving back to
Sometimes
the yeah.
you
I
can always like, change somebody's life.
I agree with that. I believe in doing random acts of kindness, and again, for what you did for that young lady, thank you. That that's
Yes.
very touching because we really don't know what somebody may be going through. The battles that they're facing. So with the now I know you got this busy schedule. Do you find time for yourself to have a little bit of fun?
I will tell you something. I am having the most fun in my entire life right now. So people are like, well, we are always working. I'm like, but I'm doing what I love. It's work. It is. But it is fun. And I really mean that. Like if I could choose to just relax in the weekend or whatever, or be at a show watching bodybuilding or whatever, bodybuilding is my life. So I enjoy that. Even before like I started competing, that's what I did. Like I would go to school, do everything work, and on the weekends I want to watch something about bodybuilding. I want to go to a show. I want to do something. That's my relaxing, my fun time. So now I'm able to do what I have fun while I'm working. So it's been good.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm looking at you. I'm like, so how do you keep your skin so beautiful? Do you have a skincare system, or is just naturally you're just naturally beautiful? But I think
uh,
that obviously you do. You're very particular about stuff. So, what would you recommend for young ladies out there and guys if they need it for taking care of their skin? Because you have beautiful skin.
I will go back to what I told you earlier. Everything starts in your gut. So your skin is a reflection of what's going on inside you. If you can take care of your inside, your outside is going to reflect that. So I make sure that everything that I put inside my body, it's very healthy, it's natural. I am very big about holistic, medicine and all this stuff. So I take a lot of herbs, seeds, teas, and things that are good for my internal health. And I think it reflects outside. I do use some lotion just for hydration, for the skin, but that's about it. I would tell everybody, take care of your gut and everything else is going to be perfect. Your nails, your hair, your skin, everything is going to reflect that because you have the minerals, you have the collagen, you have everything working properly inside you. So your outside is going to look pretty.
By the way, I like that T-shirt and your necklace.
Ah, I love it.
So what are you planning on now? What other things do you have up your sleeve with your travels? Are you going out of the country again? Are you staying in the States? What's going on?
So today's Thursday. Tomorrow we are gonna have the Europa Games. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it's gonna be Friday and Saturday. I'm gonna be there. And then next weekend we have another show that I will be going. The weekend after we have the Type of Classic that I will be the special guest.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have an event called Breakfast with the Pros on Sunday. That's on the
Oh, I
16th.
like this. Breakfast with the
Yeah.
pros.
So I'm gonna be a speaker. So I'm gonna be talking about mental health, gut health, a few struggles that people go through and trying to help people. It's gonna be a very nice event, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. I believe, 10 to 12.
Mm-hmm.
So it's right after the show. All the athletes go to the show, compete. I'm gonna be there, and then the following day, we have breakfast together. We talk about it. We have Q&A. We have all this stuff. And then we have the Tampa Pro coming up. I'm going to be at the Tampa Pro.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's so many shows coming.
Let
I'm
me
trying to
ask
see
you
if I...
about mental health real quick.
Yep.
And the struggles. So in your opinion, what are the struggles that a lot of people are going through? Because you do have a positive, that's why I'm saying when you post your post, you always have this positivity that really changes somebody's day. It changes mine. I look at them like, oh my God, she's so positive, living your, oh yeah, you know. But so what is your take on it? What are the obstacles?
I think it all goes down to perspective of life because everybody has problems. Everybody has struggles. Everybody's going to go through something because nobody has a perfect life. However, there's always a way to find a positive no matter what you're going through. And you have to be aware of that. You have to be aware that your thoughts control your outcome. So if you can control your thoughts, even though you're going through a bad moment, if you still can have positive thoughts, you can change the way you're reacting. You can change the way you look at things. And from there on, everything changes. So I think the most important thing is to work in your mindset just as much as you work in your body, in your, at the gym or whatever it is, because your mindset can completely change everything that you go through. Even like problems, like sometimes I try to apply everything that I learned in the sport to my everyday life. So when I was placing second all the time, people would come to me, sorry, not this time. I'm like, what are you talking about? Second in the world. It's how you look at things. It's the perspective. I could be upset. I could be like, you know what? It's not for me. The judges are trying to tell me a message that I'm not going to win or whatever. No, it's everything about how you're looking at things. So I just try to, everything that is in my control, I actually control. So my thoughts are 100% under my control. I try to look at like as a machine, you have the power, you have the control of the machine.
Sure.
So whatever you program, the machine's going to follow. If you go on Google, you're searching for something and whatever you search for, it's what you find. So whatever I'm searching for in my mind, it's however I'm going to find. It's however I'm going to react.
Sure.
So that's my view in terms of, problems in life. It's part of life. Nobody's perfect, but just look at it differently. Learn something from it. If you're going through something hard now, think that, okay, if now it's hard, tomorrow it's going to be easier.
Yeah,
Everything's temporary. So that's something to keep in mind all the time.
I agree with that, but for some people it's just really hard though. They just can't, especially like the last few weeks they have a prep. Your mind starts playing games with you. So, what do you think are some things they can do to think more positive? When you maybe reading a book, audio, what do you think can help with that?
Here's the thing: if you know that you're gonna go through, like you're going through a prep, you have to be prepared. You have to tell yourself that the last two weeks are gonna be hard. If you know what is coming, you're already prepared for that. If you just go through the days and then you get to the last week and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so hard. No, be prepared, and there are so many things you can do. Just like you said, reading books, it's one of the biggest things. I read a lot of books. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I train my mind every single day, at least for 1 hour. It is like a must. You have to understand that your mind, your neurons, your neurotransmitters are in your mind, and you have to keep them working, and make them work for you, not against you. So mindfulness, meditation, even grounding, going outside, looking at the sky for 5 minutes, whatever it is that you need to do to find peace with your inner self, it's going to be a big, change, big game changer.
Do you ever see yourself promoting a show?
Oh, yes, I do for sure. So in 2024, Seed, Drea, Whitney, they're going to be doing the Triple Dynasty
Oh, yeah.
show, and I'll be sponsoring that show. I've been learning a lot from other promoters. I've been studying the, promoting part of the sport.
Sure.
So whenever I decide to do it, I'll be ready. Every time that I go to shows, I'm helping backstage. I'm helping to organize, to set up, or whatever I can do to be involved. And this is teaching me, I'm learning. And as I tell everybody, I'm a sponge. I want to learn as much as I can. So one day, my generation is going to take over. Nobody's going to be here forever. So I want to make sure the sport is in good hands. At least my part is going to be in good hands. And it's my job, it's my duty to learn about and promote and do everything that I can to make sure the sport is growing.
How hard is it learning about the little ropes here and there about promoting? How hard is it? Is it difficult to? Is there a lot of things required to be a promoter? I don't really know.
I think people have no idea how much goes behind
It looks
the scenes.
like it's easy.
Yes, right? Every time I'm watching a show, I'm like, okay, everything's going well. They
Well,
have
Tim
dancing.
makes it look like it's a breeze,
You know why? Because they work very hard to make it look easy.
Yeah.
Just like the athletes, when we go on stage, everything's perfect, but nobody see the behind the scene, everything that we go through to get there. So promoting a show is just as hard, a lot of things involved, a lot of organization. I mean, it takes a whole team. When you see a show being successful, it's not just the promoter. It's everything behind the scene, everybody behind the scenes, everybody who's actually like setting up the show, the producers, everybody who's behind the scenes are working so hard, 24 hours. We go to sleep, the promoters go to sleep, they're still there like working. So it takes a lot of passion too, because you need to love this sport and all this stuff to make a good show.
Do you think, along with the promoting thing, that's a great idea. What else do you plan on doing in the future?
I think like the future has so many opportunities.
Are you going to get another degree?
I'm always studying, I'm always learning. That's why I go to all these conference workshops, Biohacking Conference, gut health related, because I want to be up to date. I want to know that new technologies. I want to know what's going on. How can I lower the inflammation levels? How can I optimize my nutrition? I want to know everything that I can to apply to myself as well, because, the human body is an incredible machine. And I love learning about it and making sure everything's working properly. So I don't know what's in the future, but I know I have a lot of passion. I am very energized to put all my love and all my energy into these sports, into what I love doing. So the doors are open, whatever comes my way, I'm hugging it.
Oh, you're so sweet. I just love you. You're such a great ambassador of the sport. All right, so I'm not going to keep you much longer, but for the Olympia coming up, what can we expect from you with the reveal? What kind of physique are you going to be? Are you looking for more definition? More size? What are you looking to do? What are you and Andrew Vu looking to do?
We are looking to bring exactly what we brought last year, but better. So the judges don't want anything harder. They don't want anything crazy. The conditioning is not supposed to be like bodybuilding or to be pushing the lines, the limits. So I got a very nice feedback from everybody that I talked to, all the judges. They're like, you are right there. You don't need to push anymore. You don't need to soften up. You're there. So continue doing what you're doing, and your body's young, your body's healthy, so you're going to continue to improve. And that's what I want to do. I want to bring to the stage a feminine, a nice look, like full, with the lines that they want to see, but clean, like very nice.
Yeah, very clean.
Beautiful.
That you do have. And you got that little tiny little waist. This disappears when you start posing. The crowd goes wild when you step on stage because your conditioning is like no other. And I can't even imagine what you're going to look like on the Olympia day. But where is Mommy's, by the way? Is she working?
Mommy, she's in Brazil right now.
Okay.
So that's why she was supposed to be in the interview with us, but she's working until 7 p.m. So she couldn't be here. But on the next one, she's going to be.
She used to work for Disney, right?
She still works for Disney.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a cool job. All right, cool beans. Well, listen, Natalia, thank you so much for being on. It's been really a pleasure. You know, if there's one thing I can ask of you because you're so positive and you're so motivating, can you please give our audience something motivational to leave with them?
Yes. So for everybody who's watching this right now, I just want to tell you to follow your dreams and to really believe in whatever you have in your heart. I've been there. I've been through so much. You know, I know a lot of people are going through a lot of things now, and they just use that as excuses. But you have to believe. You have to know that if it's inside your heart, there is a reason to be there, and it's up to you to follow it, to work for it, to pray for it, and then it's gonna come. You know, you just have to continue doing what you're doing, continue working towards it, and God's gonna bless you. That's how life is.
I love that. Thank you so much, Natalia. I'm going to say it again, 2-time Miss Women's Physique Olympia. All right. Love you too. Thank you, honey, so much for being on. Appreciate it. Have a good one. Bye.